So my name is Rene Pronovost. I'm the Director of Operations for the Data Center Clarity LC product at Maya Heat Transfer Technologies. Maya is a Canadian software-based company, and we've been doing simulation and modeling technology for over 30-some years now. And over the last decade, we've been developing a DCIM software platform known as Data Center Clarity LC, and that is sold by us and also distributed by our worldwide partner Siemens. Data Center Clarity LC version 3.0 just recently came out. There's a few key things in there that we really wanted to enable. So from a foundation point of view, it is what we consider an enterprise platform that's IoT ready, scalable, multi-site. So what we really wanted to focus on was making sure that it was AI ready, that people were able to look at forecasting their future requirements, integration, so a lot of updates considering APIs, as well as usability and accessibility of the cloud. Those are the four key things that we did on. And I could speak a little bit more on each of those if you'd like. So AI, of course, it's a hot topic. Everyone's talking about it and wondering how are we going to do it, how is it going to be implemented, what are the use cases? From our experience, we've been doing area projects now for a few years, and it all comes down to the data. And so in this morning's plenary session was very interesting, as we were talking about 90% of the data, and some people are arguing 99% of the data, isn't usable. And so in AI projects, really the challenge comes down to actually getting good quality data. You often hear poor data, good data with a bad AI is better than bad data with a good AI. So it all comes down to having the right data. And so when we hear about it, 90% not being usable, it all comes down to its organization, its labeling, its classification. So that was one of our emphasis. What we're trying to emphasize in Data Center Clarity is that when we pull all this data, that it has the structure, it has the labeling, that we can pull on it then to do AI projects. And that's where all the effort has been put, so that we have that proper data structure inside our DCIM software. As a Canadian and as a Canadian company, when I hear people saying it's about time to put pedal to the metal or take action and that we're lagging a bit, I took a little personally. As a Canadian company, working for a private Canadian company, I like to think that we're proud that we're innovating and we're trying to do some groundbreaking stuff. Being in Montreal where AI is a hype and we're trying to contribute to that. So when I took that, I'm like, it's kind of stirring me up, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to make a difference as an organization and contribute to that Canadian community and industry and make a difference. That's something that caught me by surprise. I thought we were more innovating than that. So I'm hoping we're going to step it up a bit in the next years as a team. Yeah, and that's maybe Maya's story as well. We've got a rich group, we're about 150 people. Out of that, 100 people are developers, and we've got maybe 75 with PhDs and masters. So we're a rich IP, a rich R&D company, but we're often under the radar, and we're doing great technology through such products as Data Center Clarity and stuff that are embedded in different Siemens technologies. So I understand that. We're sometimes a little too humble by nature. To me, it's just staying in sync with local players. A lot of, alluding to the last point we were just saying about people being under the radar, so many companies are doing creative projects, it's hard to stay aware of what everyone's doing. So hearing what, let's say, the larger corporations, the Googles, the Intels, and Microsofts are doing, but then also connecting at a local basis, what are companies doing locally and type of projects they're doing with specific companies allow us basically to go, oh, okay, this is what's going on, how can I leverage that, what am I missing, should I be integrating with that, what is going to be my risk in the next year or two or three with respect to what the industry is doing. So I think it's always nice to stay connected at these type of events with respect to those topics. Again, I think as a Canadian, we have our own identity. So of course we're always present in US-based conferences and activities, but then getting the perspective of the local Canadian market, there is a unique identity there, and that's what allows us to collaborate there. So there are always kind of incentives to collaborate inside our country and cross-border as well. So having that, let's say, local event for us here, I think creates a little bit stronger cohesion in our industry, which is always nice, but it has to fit inside, let's say, the larger North American ecosystem. So I think having that is a nice event. I think there's by default a natural comfort of collaborating with Canadian companies, and so as it's not a must, but when it's there, it's a nice plus. And then we can collaborate together and we work together and we understand the work dynamics. So when we collaborate amongst different Canadian companies, we feel at home and it's nice. But not to say when we collaborate on the international stage, I think we're by default good collaborators. So one or another, we like to work as a team locally or internationally.